This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Tom, Auburn's got a lot of returning pieces from an NCAA tournament team last year. They're walking into Eric Musselman's building ranked. How do you see this matchup playing out with both benches really being the strength of their team come Saturday at 1 o'clock?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, Auburn's done some two-platoon stuff, which, the Razorbacks were certainly braced for and did themselves against UNCW, which one of their best performances of the year. Auburn had not been a great three-point shooting team so far, but they got hot the other night against Penn. And so I think being able to defend the arc, and look, John Broome is one of the best big guys in the league, in the country, and he's got a lot of multiplicity to his game. So I believe they got to rebound real tough too. I mean, obviously there's a lot of components to the game, but I think keeping Auburn from getting a bunch of offensive boards is going to be real big too.
Yeah, Tom, they're top 30 in that category, and him and Cardwell are really the key post players they're going to have. Is this Arkansas's, would you say, toughest matchup in the post? I know they've had Filipowski and Edey, but I don't know if they've necessarily had that big, strong 1-2 punch like Auburn seems to have on Saturday.
Yeah, right. The combo, a combo of guys. It may be the toughest. It's hard to define. I thought they did a great job on Filipowski of Duke, actually, until, late in the game during that comeback, Duke really, really went to him. So he scored a lot of his points down the stretch when Arkansas had a huge lead. But, yeah, Auburn's got Cardwell and Broome, and certainly is going to provide a team that can hurt you on the offensive glass. So, there's been a couple of Eric Musselman teams in the past couple of years that you worried about their rebounding prowess. This one's been okay so far, but they've got to really show up on the defensive boards. When you got a guy like Brazil in there who's improved his rebounding, especially in traffic, his length, you can see contested rebounds. He's getting up there about the highest of anybody, and he's been able to hold on to them a lot of times. So I do believe I want to see a little bit more out of Makai Mitchell, and I know that from game to game, different guys, their minutes move up and they change and everything. But I think Makai Mitchell, because he can score, I like his offensive game. His rebounding in this one could be a big deal.
Tom Murphy with us on the McLarty-Daniel hotline. Tom, I know the answer will come Saturday at 1 o'clock, but do you think this team has found something with the volume of practice they've had? We've heard about two-a-days during the Christmas break. Once they got back, this team has had basically a game a week for about 3 weeks. Do you think they found something? Because they seemed to put it together a little more against Wilmington last week. What's your comfort level that this team's maybe found something headed into conference play they didn't have, say, a month ago?
Right, and I know what you're getting at, and I for Razorback fans, you hope that they have found something, because they just look better against Wilmington. They look different and they look better, and I think Eric Musselman has been able to reinforce, like the tenets of what he believes in and how you stay on the court. And, stopping the dribble driving was a big deal. And Wilmington had a great team at it. And they actually held that great scorer, White. They held him down in the first half. And then in the second half, when they just didn't want to get torn up from three, they moved up on him, and he was able to drive and create. And, boy, what a great driver and penetrator he was. So obviously you got some guys like Katie Johnson that are really good at that for Auburn, and they're going to have to be on their guard. But yeah, I do think they're more coherent together, and hopefully that will play well, because they're going to need it with their net ranking. They've got to be well above water in SEC play. What
have you seen with the addition of Keon Minifield since his eligibility was restored, or however you want to phrase that? He seemed to find it in the Wilmington game, and I think after knocking off rust or just gelling, getting that cohesive look like you're talking about there, what do you think he's bringing to the table, and what we saw, can that be sustained? I'm not saying 32 points be sustained, but just the way he could get to the rim, the way he got to the free throw line. Can we see something in at least shades of that moving forward consistently?
You hope so. And just from the top, what he provides, basically a spark. And to hear Eric Musselman tell it yesterday, when he's doing that, people had been, defending Devo Davis in a different way. And now with Minifield able to create, possibly break down your defense, Devo got a lot more open three-pointers. And, you look at conference play last year, Davis was a great three-point shooter. He had not been great in non-conference in the year before, but he shot the three well in conference play. And if you got Minifield doing the things he's doing, it's going to create better open shots on the perimeter for guys like Davis. And then if he can start making you pay, then you're opening up all kind of different, ways to exploit defenses. And so I'd like to see Battle back at better strength after his ankle, because when you've got scorers like Mark and Minifield and Battle and Davis, it creates other things. It gives Trevin Brazile a better shot to have, single man on him and a little bit more shooting space out on the wing. So Minifield has definitely been, and I talked to Takeo Sittler, the Wilmington coach, about him, and he's like, wow, yeah, I was worried about him. They went down and broke down all his tape at Washington and said, this guy, he can get his own shot. He creates for others. He breaks down your defense. So there's a lot of advantages. And getting 17 free throw shots in the game is a huge deal if they can get close to that in league play.
Tom Murphy's with us here on the McCarty-Daniel Hotline. That's, Tom, twice you've mentioned Trevin Brazile, who's having a modest season thus far, 10 points, shooting 42% per three. Should we expect his ceiling to be higher as maybe Arkansas's best chance at an NBA prospect, or do you think he's kind of comfortable, Muss is comfortable in the role he's playing in with being maybe the third or fourth option in some cases?
That is a great question. And when you see them in their kind of set offense, he quite often gets the ball 16, 18 feet away from the goal, and sometimes just doesn't even look at the shot, and he's just looking to pass. And I know that they're wanting to make quick decisions, pass it fast, but his value as a three-point shooter, I think, is good. And I just feel like he's trying to be a good teammate, but there are times when he's got to look for his shot. And you see Battle and Minifield and Mark, all those guys from time to time look for their shot. And I think Brazile, there will be times in conference play he needs to be a little bit more aggressive and do his thing, because I think he's trying to be a good, willing team player, and he's got the ability to go off. We've seen it. And maybe he's being a little bit tentative with his driving because of the knee, and hopefully that will continue to improve.
Tom, last thing before we let you go, this defensively has been the worst team thus far in Eric Musselman's tenure. And we got conference play, we got potential postseason. You think they're going to figure it out on that side of the basketball?
The metrics say that, and you've got to think that they understand what their weaknesses are. There's a little bit of a give and take with some of their best offensive players and what they do defensively, and you might have to live with that. Figure it out. Yeah, I think they know what they've got to do. Better lateral quickness, but it's led to some better block shots. The problem being when you're driven past at the perimeter, and then your big man has to come over to help, that's going to leave cutters going to the hole. And SEC teams are probably going to be a little bit better at finding that and throwing lobs and stuff. And so to answer your question, I think they're going to get better at it. If they completely figure it out, then they might have their ticket toward another deep postseason run.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet online, where the game starts.